We proceed now to the judiciary. In the Constitution, uh, there is a court created by the fundamental law, and that is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is composed of a Chief Justice and 14 Associate Justices who may sit and bank or in a division of 3, 5, or 7 members. So 15 justices all, they may sit together, and that is what we call en banc as one court, or they may divide themselves into divisions of 3, 5, or 7 members. For a justice of the Supreme Court to qualify as such, you must be natural born, must be 40 years of age, and a practitioner as a judge or as an attorney, no, in the practice of law in the Philippines for 15 years or more. This case of De Castro versus JBC, you read this case. This refers to the Section 15 of Article 7 on the appointment of the members of the Supreme Court if they are covered by the restrictions of the power of appointment of the President. So this the courts are should be independent. They should be independent because they settle, in fact, not only controversies among party litigants, but they have the expanded power of the court, which is the determination of grave abuse of discretion, which may necessitate them to be independent to prevent political influences. So, how are they shielded? First is that the fact that they are a constitutional body means that they cannot be reorganized. Supreme Court, specifically for the Supreme Court, reorganized or abolished, or the manner of its meetings and votings be changed by mere statute. Second, the appointments of the members of the judiciary are not subject to the confirmation of the Commission on Appointments, and we all know very well that the Commission on Appointments is a political body, so they are shielded from that politically charged office, the Commission on Appointments. They may be removed only for the Supreme Court by impeachment, and for the lower courts, the Supreme Court en banc has the power to discipline judges. So the court as an entire institution, Supreme Court and the lower courts, is shielded from the authority of other disciplinary authorities. This case, if you remember this, a case of first endorsement from the Honorable Gonzales, okay, requesting Honorable Justice Marcelo Fernan to comment on an anonymous letter complaint. In this case, the Supreme Court is very clear that an impeachable officer who is required to be a lawyer cannot be disbarred, nor cannot he be subject to a case that involves his removal from office or service of his penalty that tantamounts to a removal. So this is short of saying that only impeachment can be the means of removing impeachable officers. But here comes the case of Republic versus Sereno, where Sereno was removed by Quo Warranto, where the Supreme Court exploited on the use may, saying that these impeachable officers, including the justices of the Supreme Court, may be removed from office on impeachment. Perhaps using verbalegis to say that the word may is literally considered as permissive only, as if saying that the word may refer to the possibility of Quo Warranto or other means of the removal of an impeachable officer from his office, not on may referring to the precedent condition of the commission of culpable violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, and so on, which are grounds for impeachment. But again, for this case, read the entire text, including the separate opinions, and take note how Justice Martirez voted. Because if you look at the decision, Justice Martirez only concurred as to the result, but not the decision itself. It may, in a way, influence how we look at this case in relation to jurisprudence of impeachment being exclusive. Okay. Also, part of the constitutional limitations shielding the court is that Congress shall have the power, well, Congress has the power to define and prescribe and apportion the jurisdiction of the various courts. It may not deprive the Supreme Court of its jurisdiction over cases enumerated in Section 5 thereof. Then these are the cases that are constitutionally granted, and they cannot be removed from the Supreme Court. Even if there is a define, prescribe, and apportion the jurisdiction of courts. So this remains intact for the Supreme Court. Also, no law shall be passed increasing the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court without its advice and concurrence. That's why you remember the case of Villavert versus Desierto, where the Ombudsman's Act extended or increased the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to include cases emanating from the Ombudsman. The court has administrative supervision over lower courts and their personnel to shield them also from external control and influence or coercion or pressure. And they have the Supreme Court has the exclusive authority to discipline judges of the lower court. Okay. Meaning only the Supreme Court can dismiss or suspend the officers of the lower court. The members of the court has a security of tenure until they reach the age of 70. In fact, there is a provision that prohibits the reorganization of the judiciary if it undermines the security of tenure of the members of the court. Courts may not be designated in a quasi-administrative function. This is to prevent the tarnishing of the court or its undue influence on administrative agencies. And of course, so to prevent justice as overly stretching out his capacity, spreading himself too thinly. Judges and justices have security of tenure. Okay. Okay, by the way, malik pala tayo. This is the case of Makalintar versus Pet, saying that the presidential electoral tribunals and other electoral tribunals perform a judicial power that cannot be considered as a violation of this idea of courts not being designated to quasi-judicial or administrative functions, because in fact the PET is constitutionally created. No? Its functions are judicial in character. The salaries of judges may not be reduced. It may be increased because they do not take part in the lawmaking, but it may not be, the salary of the judge cannot be reduced. In Itafan versus CRR, Supreme Court emphasized that the salaries of the justices and judges are not exempt from taxation. The court also enjoys fiscal autonomy and has the power to make its own rules. That's why we have the Supreme Court's rules of court. This is not a congressional document. This is legislation coming from, or rules coming from the court itself. The Supreme Court can also temporarily detail judges, no? Not only for the safety of the judges, but for the integrity of the decisions of cases where a local judge may be influenced or threatened because of a pending case against him. That could be a reason. So they may temporarily detail judges also when there is a lack of judges in certain stations. So temporary detail of judges will be allowed by the Supreme Court if public interest so requires. The Supreme Court also appoints all the officials and employees of the judiciary, subject, of course, to the existing civil service law. The change of venue relating to the temporary detail of judges also is a means by which the judges, a case may be transferred its venue because of possibility of the miscarriage of justice if a case is continued to be heard in a particular court's jurisdiction. Okay. So judicial power is the power of the court. It's the traditional concept of judicial powers in the second paragraph, and the expanded concept of judicial power is the power of review. No, So that's the expanded concept of judicial power to determine whether or not there has been grave abuse of discretion amounting to a lack or excess of jurisdiction. This power of judicial review is what you call judicial supremacy, not because the court is superior over the other two branches, but because the Constitution is supreme and it will protect the Constitution. The courts have the obligation to protect the Constitution. In that aspect, they must assert their supremacy to protect the Constitution. So, what is the jurisdiction of the court? Well, this is a matter of memorization. It's they exercise original jurisdiction over cases affecting ambassadors, public ministers, and consuls. Petitions for certiorari, prohibition, and mandamus, and quo warranto, and habeas corpus. They also have the power to reverse, revise, modify, or affirm these following cases. Also, they have the power to determine whether or not a declaration of martial law or proclamation of the writ of habeas corpus, suspension of the writ of habeas corpus has basis. The court also exercises its function as a presidential electoral tribunal for the president, no, and the vice president. Also, decisions of the COA Civil Service and COMELEC may be appealed or brought to the Supreme Court 30 days from receipt of the copy thereof. Report of by the judiciary, the court shall submit to the President and Congress an annual report of the operations and activities of the judiciary. This is part of the checks and balances of the court. Manner of sitting and the votes required. The court may sit en banc or divisions of 3, 5, or 7 members. So even if they sit en banc, the court is considered as a single unit. There is no hierarchy in the court that the en banc is an appellate court or a separate court from the divisions. It is there is no hierarchy of the courts established within the Supreme Court. It remains a single unit. That's why in 1989, the Supreme Court issued Circular 289 declaring that the court en banc is not an appellate court to which the decisions or resolutions of a division may be appealed. So when a case is decided by the court in division, you're not supposed to bring it to the Supreme Court en banc for appeal. No, it's still the Supreme Court. Only it acts in a division. So the court en banc is not an appellate court which the decisions or resolutions of the division may be appealed. Case of public interest versus Elma. But the court, though can hear cases in division, there are some cases that may be heard in division that the court can still also hear en banc. It's discretion. If it wants to hear certain cases en banc, although they are not required to, it's their discretion, especially if these cases are imbued with public interest. As to the reversal of the doctrine by the court, Section 4, Paragraph 3, Article 8 says that no doctrine or principle of law laid down by the Supreme Court en banc or in divisions may be modified or reversed except by the court sitting en banc. Only the Supreme Court sitting en banc can modify a jurisprudence, a doctrine or principle of law. Always remember that. So these are the en banc cases. You have these cases including questions involving the constitutionality of treaties, application operation of presidential decrees, other cases which the rules of court require to be heard en banc, cases heard by a division when the required number is not obtained, perhaps when the quorum is not reached. The Supreme Court shall have the power also to discipline judges, also to know the factual basis for the declaration of martial law or the suspension of the privilege of the writ, and also as a presidential electoral tribunal. These are all en banc cases. So how does the en banc vote? Majority of the members who actually took part in the deliberation. So we have 15 justices. The quorum is 8, but it could be lowered to 5 members depending on the vote, depending on the quorum present, no? Because the quorum of 15 is 8. Um, the majority of the 8 is enough to decide a case en banc. Okay? But if they are 15, complete sila, the vote required is 8 to decide on a case. Now, what are the consequences if the en banc is divided in its opinion? We have your remedial law, no? And criminal procedure. If in appealed cases, it could be possible that civil cases, no, it could be possible that the appeal decision may be affirmed. In criminal procedure, the appeal decision, if there is a divided opinion, may be reversed and acquittal is declared, no, in effect. In divisions, this is how they vote. These are the technicalities. A majority still of those who actually took part, but not less than 3 members ang dapat concurrence or dapat bumoto. No? If the required quorum is not obtained, they go to the Supreme Court en banc. And of course, since only the Supreme Court can reverse a doctrine, the en banc cannot reverse such doctrines or principles. This is the manner of voting. Please take note that in no case shall there to be a vote of less than 3. That's why in a division of 3 members, all the 3 must concur on the same vote. So these are the requirements to decisions: consultation, assignment to opponent, the issuance of the certification, and statement of the reasons why a member took no part. As a requirement of due process, decisions must state the facts and law in which it is based. This is to inform the public, the litigants, of how their cases have been resolved by the court. Especially when there is a desire to reconsider, intent of the court to reconsider its decision. When the court reconsiders its earlier decision, changes suddenly the tone of its decision, it should likewise state the factual and legal foundations relied upon, because the court should be able to justify such a sudden change. Of course, it must be able to convincingly explain the taking back of its solemn conclusion and pronouncements earlier made. So kapag appeal, reconsider decision, all the more that the reconsideration must be more elaborative. This requirement as to decisions, no, stating the facts and the law, the elaboration of the decision, the reason, no, for the decision, applies also to, according to the 1987 case of Nagiat versus NLRC, applies as well to dispositions of quasi-judicial and administrative bodies. However, in a 2002 case of Padua versus Ranada, it says that it only applies to the decisions of a court of justice. So there's a mandatory period for deciding cases, generally 24 months. No, all cases matters must be decided or resolved within the filing of the last pleading by 24 months. Or that's for the Supreme Court. No, for the declaration for the decisions on the factual basis of martial law, you have within 30 days. No, 30 days. Sorry, 24 months. 24 months. If it's the Supreme Court, okay, 24 months decision from the submission of the Supreme Court. But 30 days for for the determination of the factual basis for martial or suspension of the privilege of the writ. But for other cases, 24 months, no, for the Supreme Court, not 30 days, no. So for the lower courts, the lower courts is created by statute. So Congress determines the jurisdiction of the lower courts, and also for this case also recognizes that it's only the Supreme Court that is immune from modifications by Congress, because it requires an amendment or revision if we are to determine the composition or meetings of the Supreme Court. But lower courts are created by law, and these are the lower courts. And the lower courts has the hierarchy where the Supreme Court is at the topmost. Qualifications for the lower collegiate courts, you must be natural born together with the other requirements. But for the non-collegiate courts, you may just be a citizen of the Philippines. So a naturalized citizen can be a member of the Supreme Court. Salaries for the lower court, it shall also be fixed by law and cannot be decreased. Um, as to the congressional power and security of tenure of the lower court judges, the judges of the lower court shall hold office during good behavior until they reach the age of 70. So no law can be made reorganizing the judiciary if it undermines the security of tenure of judges. Removal of judges of the lower court, only the Supreme Court can remove judges of the lower court. The jurisdiction of the lower court is determined by law. But remember, all courts can exercise judicial review. Okay. Also the same requirement, also there's a deadline, 12 months for the lower collegiate courts and 3 months for the other courts to decide a case. There's that intent to expedite the resolve of cases. That's why we have, through time, court developed certain procedures to expedite the resolve of cases. Small claims cases, continuous trials, and then the use of judicial affidavit to shorten direct examination, perhaps. So they are appointed by the Judicial and Bar Council, and these are the compositions of the Judicial and Bar Council. So, what's the function of the council? To recommend appointees to the judiciary, and other functions and duties as the Supreme Court may assign them. And this is how the judicial department is structured as of the moment. No? How about court martials? Court martials are agencies of the executive department. No? Its function is attached to the commander-in-chief. No? And they are not within the Philippine judicial system, the court martials. Okay. So thank you for viewing this video.